So I feel the need to tell y'all about my main character, Isabela Ramirez, really Bianca, porque it's like it's so much there, and es como un bochinche, como una cosa que bien realística, pero it's fiction, So it's like, but I have to explain it. So Bianca, porque el nombre de ella es Bianca, uh, nació en la República Dominicana. She was born in the DR and all of that. And she lived a hard life. And she wanted to get from underneath her household and the gossip, porque la gente siempre estaba bochinchando de su familia and all of that, right? And they did have merit. Lo bochinche, the gossips, right? They did have merit, because there was some things in there that she experienced, that she saw from her father, and then the man that her father hung out with, that it the neighborhood had a right to warn about those men and to talk about those men. And eventually in the story we see how those gossips in a way made the neighborhood a little bit safer. And then you will see that at the end of the story. Pero Bianca, she wants to run away from that so badly, so badly. But when you're like, it's hard, right? So we're talking about new beginnings. We talk about immigrating somewhere, anywhere. She just doesn't care. She needs to get out of there. So when she's working at this resort and then she sees Tom, Tom is like her ticket. She sees in this man, she sees a ticket, a way out. But Bianca, she confuses need for love because of her background, right? Like I said, she lived a tough, tough childhood, where her mom was too busy surviving to really nourish and take care of her, where her dad was doing things that he shouldn't be doing and was bringing men that were on the same horrible vibe as him into the household, and which inadvertently hurt his own daughter. And you will see that. And then with mom being so detached because she has her own trauma to deal with, it really just left Bianca on her own to try to survive. And the best way that she can do that was by running away as soon as she could. And that's what she did. She found herself working in this resort. She saw Tom. She equated the safety net that came with Tom and with the Prescott last name, because it's a old money last name. And she, because she didn't have a safety net all along, she was like, this is love. This is what love is. Love is somebody with resources that takes care of you and saves you. But she forgot about respect. So she holds on, se aferra a Tom. She holds on, just grips with a death grip, this idea of this new life. And when she gets the papers and she immigrates, and she marries this man, Bianca changes everything that is Bianca and turns into Isabela. A more European sounding name, more classical sounding name, as Tom gave her the idea. And little by little, Bianca, now Isabela, trying to survive, and Tom really trying to mold this person that doesn't really know any better into his version of a Latina woman who would later help him in the political atmosphere. it just becomes kind of like this recipe for disaster. But she embarks on this new life, not really understanding the trauma that she endured and how she is really just carrying on the trauma and carrying on the devils from the island to Massachusetts to the U.S. And it's not until tragedy happens that she stops to take a look, to examine her life and her choices, and she understands um, how she played a role through actions and inactions. And and it's not until she goes back to the DR where it all started, to understand that a little bit more and to really understand the women in her lineage, that she sees for herself um, how everything just came to be. But Bianca is it's a very complex character that it's realistic in the way that we as human beings are realistic, in that we are complex, in that in the just human ways that we try to save ourselves, sometimes we hurt others, and in how we try to hide from the things that hurt us the most, just to save ourselves in those moments, to turn away from the pain because we feel that that is what's gonna help us the most. And then we try to hide the devils under our bed just to not look at them, but they're there all along. So that is really Bianca in a nutshell. And she has to unearth all of that throughout the story. And it's tough. It's tough. It's tough for me as a human being, when I had to do that, and it's tough for my character as I challenge that character to do the same and uncover the trauma, the scars, the devils underneath her bed, and really take a look at her life and understand it a little bit better, so that way she can change the trajectory of it and be able to truly save herself. So that is Bianca Ramirez, aka Isabella Prescott, from Under the Flamboyant Tree. Complex